1 Samuel 23. Saul chases David. David was told, the Philistines are now attacking Keilah and looting the threshing floors. David asked the Lord, should I go and fight these Philistines? Go, the Lord answered. Fight the Philistines and save Keilah. But David's men said to him, look, how frightened we are here. Judah, it'll be worse if we go to Keilah against the Philistine forces. So David asked the Lord again, and the Lord reaffirmed, yes, go to Keilah, because I will hand the Philistines over to you. Then David and his soldiers went to Keilah and fought the Philistines, driving their cattle and defeating them decisively. And that's how David saved the residents of Keilah. Now Abiathar's son, fled to David. He accompanied David to Keilah, bringing a priestly vest with him. When Saul was told David was gone to Keilah, he said, God has handed him over to me now because he has trapped himself by entering the town gates and bars. So Saul called up his troops for war. Go down to Keilah and attack David and his soldiers. When David learned that Saul was planning to harm him, he told the priest bring the priestly vest now. Then David said, Lord God of Israel, I, your servant, have heard that Saul plans on coming to Keilah and will destroy the town because of me. Lord God of Israel, will Saul come down as your servant has heard? Please tell your servant, yes, he will come down, the Lord answered. Next, David asked, will the citizens of Keilah hand me and my soldiers over to Saul? Yes, they will hand you over, the Lord replied. So David and his troops, approximately 600 men, got up and left Keilah. They kept moving, going from place to place to the next. When Saul was told that David had escaped from Keilah, he didn't go there. David lived in the fortress in the wilderness and in the hills of Zeph wilderness. Saul searched for him constantly, but God did not hand David over to Saul. While David was at Horus in the Zeph wilderness, he learned that Saul was looking to kill him. Saul, son of Jonathan, came to David at Horus and encouraged him with God. Jonathan said to him, don't be afraid. My father Saul's hand will never touch you. You will be king over Israel, and I will be your second in command. Even my father Saul knows this." Then the two of them made a covenant before the Lord. David stayed at Horesh, but Jonathan went back home. Some Zephonites came to Saul at Gilbreth. "David is hiding among us in the fortress of Horesh, on the hill of Harnicah, south of Jeshmun," they said. "So whoever want to come down, your majesty, do it. Leave it to us to hand him over to the king." "The Lord bless you because you have shown this kindness to me," Saul said. "Go now and get everything ready. Find out everything you can, where he stays, where he goes, who has seen him. I am told he is very shrewd. Find out everything, every hiding place he uses there, and come back to me when you know for certain. I will then go with you. If David's in the area, I will hunt him down among any of the Judas clans." So they got up and left Ziph ahead of Saul. Meanwhile, David and his soldiers were in the Maon wilderness, in the desert plain south of Jeshmun, when Saul and his troops went looking for him. David was told about it. So he went down to a certain rock there and stayed in the Maon wilderness. When Saul heard that, he went into the Maon wilderness after David. Saul was going around one hill there, while David and his soldiers were going around another. David was hurrying to get away from Saul, while Saul and his troops were trying to surround David and his soldiers in order to capture them. But a messenger suddenly came to Saul. "Come quick," he said. "The Philistines have invaded the land." So Saul broke off his pursuit of David and went to fight the Philistines. That is why that place is called Escape Rock. Then David went from there and lived at the Engedi fortress. Thank you for listening, and God bless.